Rainbow Six Parasite has already been through a cycle of hell, and we've only ever even seen one official trailer. The game looked pretty decent when it was first announced, but then went off the grid up until recently when leaks have started to come out about the game. Keep in mind that Ubisoft themselves has said very little about the game, and technically nothing I'll be talking about today has been officially said or confirmed by them. However, after almost an hour of gameplay leaked online, they had confirmed that that was from the game. Starting in 2019 with the announcement of the at the time named Rainbow Six Quarantine, we assumed that it would be about a year out in 2020, and it was kind of slated for that in Ubisoft's official plans. However, for multiple reasons, that didn't end up happening. I don't think the game was done, and on top of that, releasing a game called Quarantine during 2020 wasn't exactly the best idea. The game went MIA throughout the entire year of 2020 and only recently resurfaced in 2021 through leaks. However, I'm not here today just to discuss the turbulent history of this game. I'm here to discuss the turbulent future of this game. The game looks bad, and by that I don't just mean the 360p that for some reason the leaks were captured in, or the fact that the leaker put the entire alphabet over the screen to try to make it look like nothing was going on in the background, even though you could very clearly tell what was going on in the background, unfortunately. The one word I would use to describe the game is boring. It looks standard, it looks 6 out of 10, it looks like something that they made in like a month and then decided to release. It uses a bunch of reskin things from Rainbow Six Siege, obviously. All the mechanics are still there. The operators, the characters, the guns, even the abilities for some ungodly reason. I'll get into that later. Uh, it's all just there, and then they put some new maps and some new zombie guys in, and for some reason the zombies like disappear when you kill them, like in Fortnite. I have no fucking clue why that is. It makes the game feel a lot less realistic, a lot less scary, if every time there's a body it just disappears. And I already hear you saying, oh, but it's Outbreak Mode. You like Outbreak Mode, right? Yeah, I do like Outbreak Mode. Mode being the key word. It was a free game mode in a game that I bought for an entirely different reason, and it was kind of fun, but it was incredibly fucking janky. The operator abilities don't lend themselves very well. They're meant for killing other players and opening spaces and doing this or that. So when you have Ash running around with a breaching charge against zombies, it feels pretty pointless. It feels really pointless, actually. Uh, and granted, Ash is not one of the ones they've shown in this, but they've debatably made even worse choices. Another fun one is that Outbreak Mode had some real nice cutscenes, and I haven't seen a single cutscene for this. Okay, some cutscenes, but nothing to the level of Outbreak Mode, which is really disappointing. This is probably the most opinionated point in this, but I don't think the gunplay works very well for zombie shooters. There's a lot of recoil, which makes sense considering the one-shot headshot thing, but when that's no longer a thing and you're fighting against giant hordes of zombies, it becomes a little bit harder to deal with. This was hard to deal with in the Outbreak Mode, but I feel like for a whole nother game they should have restructured it a bit, but from the gameplay it looks like it's exactly the same. Operator selection and abilities is honestly one of the things that I think this game has weakest going for it right now. They brought Alibi, Lion, Finka, Ella, Tachanka, and for some unknown reason, Vigil. Keep in mind that Vigil's ability is to go invisible to drones. And I would say that it's probably different for this. It has to be, I think. But could they not have found somebody better than Vigil for this? I mean, Vigil's boring as fuck. As well as just being like a operator with an ability. But I also think Alibi and Ella are pretty fucking terrible, and I can guarantee, because he scrolled over them in the video, that they are not changed. So Alibi still sets up prismas, which I'm assuming at least the zombies will be attracted to, unlike in Terrorist Hunt where they completely ignore them. But Ella's is Grismop mines, which just seems bad. I mean, stunning them is fine, I guess, but she's gonna have to have a lot more of them to make it useful. And I also don't feel like you're sitting still for too long waiting for zombies to come at you. But I don't know. Tachanka's ability, I would say, isn't great, but it's his old ability, which will actually work pretty well for this, I think. If the zombies come towards you, which, considering the Ella's in this, I'm assuming they'd have to. And Lion and Finka actually make sense, it's just that, unfortunately, the operators are really boring. To me, the biggest shame is the fact that it's not like a single-player story game, and instead a shoehorned co-op multiplayer zombie shooter. I feel like they've been trying to develop a story for a while, and it could be kind of interesting, although not really affecting the normal gameplay of the normal game. But it would be nice. It would be a little bit of fun, and it just feels like that's kind of all been shit on here. They've just completely ignored that part of the game. Sadly, despite how boring and generic the game looks, it'll probably still sell well. Hopefully, this is just a situation where the work in progress is much worse than the game itself, but considering Ubisoft's track record and the general track record of betas being pretty similar to what actually comes out, I wouldn't hold my breath. Anyways, that's about it, guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.